Hello, beautiful listeners and viewers. We have an amazing guest with us today. Thank you for joining us. Our guest is Carolyn J. Carpenter. I met Carolyn through my Heal Your Life work, and she is a licensed Heal Your Life coach. And that is how we came into acquaintance. But I want to tell you a little bit about her, and I'm going to cheat and read because she's kind of a big deal, and we're super excited that she's here. She will be showing us how life mimics art. And I'll just say that for now. And how art mimics life. Carolyn J. Carpenter, a story analyst, writer, producer. As a writer, her most recent film was as a co-writer in a movie starring Oscar winner J.K. Simmons and Downton Abbey's Ellen Leach. I have to say, if this is the movie that I just recently watched that you wrote, Carolyn, I looked at Carolyn in a completely different way afterwards. I was a little scared.
I don't look like I write.
She is an amazing writer. It was so much fun to see a different side of you. She is the founder and CEO of Hollywood Gatekeepers, and she has been involved in many mega hits and worked with many mega stars. But her main work right now, as I understand it, is writing screenplays and teaching people how to read and write screenplays, as well as her work as a licensed Heal Your Life coach. Did I get that right?
You got it. You got it. Together. It all sounds weird to be life coach and then writing screenplays, but they actually do intertwine. Really lovely. It's beautiful.
Well, tell us more about that. How, when we think of life coach, I think a lot of people think of hiring someone to help you through transitions in life. And so how does that tie into screenplays and writing and so on?
Absolutely. It goes together. And it's sometimes, getting licensed and meeting you, which is like one of the highlights of my life so far. It's so lovely. And meeting you right at the gate, like the first phone call, it was like, oh, yeah, this will be forever now. Our friendship and and then experiencing it, what we did together in your trainings, which are amazing. And anyone that's considering doing it needs to just, get off this call and sign up. Like, it's amazing. And so being able to incorporate Heal Your Life with screenwriting seems like those don't really go together, but they absolutely do. So I teach people how to read and analyze screenplays. That's the main business that I have in Hollywood Gatekeepers. That's why it's called that, because there are people in Hollywood that they read a screenplay and then they write a thing called coverage, which is kind of like a book report. And that book report or coverage says what the movie's about and then what works in the movie and what needs work in the movie. And we do that for producers or writers or anyone that's trying to get their project off the ground. So we are giving constant feedback, right, on people's very personal work. And so we're dealing with a lot of egos. We're dealing with a lot of things in Hollywood. And if you can manage your mind and you can be kind to yourself and you can learn how to love yourself and you can learn how to stand in your own power, then you will be able to manage Hollywood, as they say. You'll be able to handle like whatever comes across your desk, not only like the people part, but you're also reading all kinds of different stories. So you might read a story that for some people might be triggering, let's say, or could be bringing up certain things for you. If you're able to understand your own psychology and your own way of thinking, then you will be a much better analyst. You'll be a much better writer for sure, because you'll understand the human condition. You'll be able to create authentic characters because you understand what makes people tick. And quite frankly, you'll be easier to be around too, because you'll just life will be easier and more fun and all the things as you do all of that. So that's kind of how it all intertwines.
Oh, yes. I can see that. As you were speaking, I was thinking about how, we talk about how life coaching is integrated into people's relationships, into their finances, into their careers, and so on. But really, it's so interesting how, in particular, this Heal Your Life work can apply to any of those genres.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a medical degree, or a screenwriter, or whatever that career might be, a career in law. It really doesn't matter, because it all comes back down to how we manage ourselves and knowing ourselves.
Yes. And human and being human and the human connection. And especially as AI kind of comes into writing, we are just doubling down. So this is why I'm getting more and more coaching. Like this coaching certification to me was kind of the end all be all, because it is like so much about loving yourself and loving others. And it's so human. So as the AI comes in, like I'm double downing on human connection. And the more the people that I coach can also go out and coach others and help other writers and help producers find the project that they want and help writers write the project that really is meaningful to them. I have such a soft spot in my heart for writers that actually sit down and do the thing. So it's like, that is an amazing skill. And it shows that they're willing to reach for things. Anyone that's an artist, in my opinion, is already reaching for more and bigger and more beautiful and all the things. And so having some tools to help you do that in a very tangible way while you're being so creative in a non-tangible way, I think that helps balance all of it. So absolutely, they go together. And I think that's true kind of with any career, really. If you're dealing with people, you're going to have, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Always such a pleasure to hear how you are expressing how things in your life, this part of your life. Oh, and there goes your beautiful dog.
Lucky's in the game too. He wants.
Yes, dogs and cats. Cats are always welcome on this podcast.
Dogs are like, I'm done with the bone you gave me. I'm just going to wander over here now.
That's so sweet.
Yes.
Well, you and I were talking a couple of weeks ago about transitions in life and transitions in movies and transitions in screenplays and so on. And so I don't know where you'd like to jump in here, but can we just continue on that conversation for the viewers and the listeners? For example, how to manage the transition, how to even identify that that's what's happening in this moment.
Yeah, I actually take a lot of that kind of stuff and just create lessons out of it so that people can understand the structure of a screenplay, as well as how it is amazing how our lives like mimic it. And so those people that are listening that aren't necessarily writers, most people go to movies at some point. So being able to sort of cast yourself as your own hero or your own protagonist in your own story, and then realizing, and I teach how to write a screenplay course where I literally do like, okay, here's page one. Here's what happens on page one. Screenplays are 1 minute per page. So like a 90-minute screenplay will be a 90-page screenplay. And so here's what happens on page one of writing a screenplay. Here's what happens on day one of writing your screenplay. Here's what happens to you as a writer. And so you're all excited and just like the protagonist, things are happening, and so here's what happens on page 2 and day 2. So fast forward to page 45 and day 45, the protagonist halfway through the movie, right? 45 minutes in is halfway. That's called the midpoint. And in this transition, it's when everything, there's a big shift. And so I often use Shrek. That's one of my favorite films because it's written by readers, first of all. And it really is structurally really sound. Wizard of Oz is another one. Halfway through, Shrek rescues the princess, right? Big old shift in our lives as we're writing the screenplay. Halfway through, people lose interest. It's really like a common thing. There's a word for it or a phrase for it called Valley of Despair. And it's like we get into this, and we have to shift through that in order to get to the next thing. And when a screenplay begins, there's a thing called inciting incident, and that's that moment where something happens in the beginning of a movie. And so when that happens in our life, we have to manage that transition. And when we can understand that it's just a story, and we can understand all the thoughts and all the things and all the stuff that's going around in our mind are just our thoughts creating stories. People are listening right now, creating a story about you, about me, about them, about movies, about all the things, right? And we just do that all the time. So we can start being really aware of the stories that we're creating on the daily basis and start to determine, well, is that true, really? Or is this just a thought that I'm having? And can I then look at that thought and determine how is that thought causing me to feel and then act a certain way? And from those actions, I'm getting results. So it's like the same thing in a screenplay. When we know what the characters are thinking and what they're trying to accomplish, we can like get them into the next thing. So all of those transitions towards the end of the film, there's that big climax, like in a romantic comedy where they're all running to the airport, or Braveheart, they're going into battle. That's called the point of no return. And this, when we get to the end of writing our screenplay, we're like pushing through, we're almost done, we're going to do this thing. And so when we can see in any situation, let's say we have a medical diagnosis, we have that first moment where we're trying to, comprehend what's happening, and can we be really aware of the story that we're telling about it, instead of it being just this terrible thing that happened to us? Can we just look at it as the thing that makes it more terrible, or harder are the thoughts we have about it?
Yes.
And can we get a handle on that? And that's what I love about Louise Hay, is that she takes very serious conditions and she kind of boils it down to, how do we handle these with love? How do we start from love? How we start everything from love? And when you start that as someone who's analyzing a screenplay, and we're coming from love, and we're coming from, we are going to help kick that gate open. We're going to help get that screenplay going. And the same thing as a writer, I'm constantly writing with people. Most always I write with a writing partner. And so it's like, how do I approach both you writing the screenplay and my relationship with the writing partner from a place of love and a place of respect and a place of like, what story are we telling and how cool is that? And start from there. So that's kind of what we play with all the things that I teach inside of our programs.
Oh my goodness. I never realized how closely this all ties together and how much it really truly does mimic what's going on in our life.
Yeah.
It's hollywoodgatekeepers.com/action to see what you have going next, and what courses you're offering, what trainings you're offering, and so on, to get onto your list. And I wanted to throw that out there before I circle back to what you were talking about in terms of being aware of the story, right? So the thoughts are creating the stories, and then being aware of the story. And I thought it was interesting that you said, a 90-minute screenplay, 45 minutes, partway through that valley of despair for a writer, but also where the big action takes place in the screenplay or in the movie,
exactly
right? And so I was thinking about life, that I'm 59 right now, so I'm a little bit past the allegedly past the big bang of the story, and moving on to the point of no return.
We don't know that.
But what I wanted to say was, it's interesting because so often in life, it's right around that 45 years old.
Yeah.
That we start putting
evaluating.
On our thoughts, on the stories that we're telling ourselves, on what we're believing about ourselves, putting value on loving ourselves and accepting ourselves. I mean, if not now, when?
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Well, and I think that I get a lot of people that come into our programs and they say that, I talk a lot about reinvention, and they say, it's a left turn. Most people don't even know this exists, reading and analyzing screenplays. They know writing exists, but the reading and analyzing part, people aren't aware that that's a big part of kind of how movies get made. And so they'll come in so excited because it's if you love movies and you love to read, it's just like, what? Like, this is the greatest thing ever. And so they go, I'm going to reinvent my life for the final time. And I'm always like, yeah, good luck with that, because we are constantly reinventing. So if we can look at every season of reinvention, even if you look, people tend to reinvent when their birthday has a 0 on the end of it, right? We tend to reinvent every significant birthday. And so when we can look at if you can look at like the decades of all the decades you've lived, or depending on how old we are, or all the days that you've lived, and if you can imagine like who you were in each one of those days. And you can just imagine like all of the valleys of despairs and all of the, moments where we've been up and down, because you have that thing that gets you excited about something, then it gets hard. And where it gets hard is where a lot of people give up and they get distracted, or they move on to something else. And if you can push through that, then you'll get to that climax and resolution and all the good things. And then you're at a new level. And then you start again onto whatever the next thing is. And I really believe, like, a lot of people say, oh, you're reading too many self-help books, but I think that they stack, and that you get to where you're ready for the next one. And then you're at a new version of yourself, and it all starts again. And then it gets hard in this new version, and what's going on? And then you push through, and then you're at this new resolution where things are different. And then it's like, okay, and now we start again. So rather than being like, it is like a full life for sure. And then it's also these, like, all the things. And if we can look at all the different versions of ourselves, and we can just always imagine that they're there just cheering. Like, you walk through life there, we put them all in a room or a stadium or whatever it is, and they're just like, you go, and they're just all cheering, and we're standing on the greatness of who we've been. And then you can put in the rafters all of the future versions of yourself being just equally as like, come on, you've got this. We're all cheering each other. So that, again, it's that basis of love. So every version of ourselves is always doing the very best they can with what they have available. And then as we grow and as we learn, we have more tools and more resources, and we can just continue to do that, so that we can handle, when you can write a screenplay and learn that, then when you have a transition in your life, it takes some of the angst out of it, and you can kind of be more empowered in your decisions when you're understanding, screenplay conflict, values, that conflict is values, like butting heads, and you can kind of learn more about the people in your life because you've learned about how to make them into characters. So it's just really, really fun.
I've heard people talk in the past about, be the main character of your own movie, be this, be that. I've always embraced that. I thought that was a great theory. But as I listened to you talk just now, I think for the first time, I'm realizing that means the dark days too.
Yeah.
So, those quote unquote failed relationships, those jobs that you've been fired from, the dark days, the days that we are maybe embarrassed about, or just want to forget it happened, period.
Yes. Yeah.
And to, like, what if we looked at that as part of the richness and fullness of our life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I heard a beautiful podcast the other day, and the guy was talking about how we have, if you look at your life and all the days you have, you're going to have 10% of the days are, amazing. And then you have, like, most days are pretty just, the same as the day before. And then you've got a bunch of days that are not great. And so if you could just go, well, this is my 10%. Today I'm having a 10% day. That's not great. Knowing that doesn't mean that every day is going to be like this. And that, the idea that life can be 50-50. Life is beautiful and fascinating and awful and messy and lovely and cool and, like, all the things. And just being able to sort of ride the wave of all the things, and really look at your patterns on how do you look at things, and how do you repeat yourself, and if you want to change a pattern, what do you need to do that, really understanding that how we choose to be when we wake up. And that's the thing that Louise is so amazing, is just like, it is a choice every day. And in my darker days, before I knew this work, and when I first found Louise Hay, like, I had many people give me her book, You Can Heal Your Life. Did I read it? No. Many people are giving it to me. It's like, hello. So finally, I was having migraines so bad that I finally read the book and was like, and so then, even though I was so disgruntled and so unhappy in where I was at, and of course I was having migraines, I spent my whole day going, what's wrong with you, to myself? Like that, even like the like, get it together. Look at that now, and it's like, of course you're going to have a headache. My goodness, it's just like, it gives me a neck ache just thinking about it. So I just started writing her 6 points every day when I would journal, and then things started to shift, and I started, even before I even had a deep understanding of this, things started to drastically shift. And I mean, kind of who I am now is so different. And I have such love for the what's wrong with you version of me, because I was trying so hard, and it was like trying instead of just breathing and relaxing and moving forward. And so being able now to coach others and help them see it, I kind of sit on the proverbial couch with them, and we peel back their brain together, and I'm like totally on their team, but often will say, I love you so much, but, do you see how you are responsible for your thought here? And this thought is creating a behavior that might not be serving you. So can we look at that so that they can take, when we blame other people, we're giving them all the power. we blame
Yes.
others, then they're responsible for how we live our lives. And that's so disempowering. So can we, instead of blaming them, and not, we don't blame ourselves either, we just look and see, what is the pattern of my thought that is creating? We often have the same, oh, this old chestnut, when you meet someone new, like, wait a minute, thought I learned this lesson. It's kind of amazing.
Yes.
Kind of go around and around. So can we look at those patterns and see what we can do? And I see you doing that with all of your clients. And I mean, watching the transformations that we had together when we were in Banff together, and watching so many people, I mean, that looked like completely different people when they left than when they came. It's amazing. And I felt like a completely different person too. I'll never forget it. Like walking off the bridge, going out and throwing my stone into the river is kind of my final thing there. And then walking off the bridge and going like, I'm walking off this bridge like a completely changed person. It was just amazing. So cool.
I'm so glad that you had those really rich experiences, and what a
God.
privilege it is for those of us who are able to bear witness to transformation in others.
Yeah.
It is truly a privilege. There is really no other word to describe being able to witness that. It's just so incredible. I'm listening to you talk again, and I just want to just circle back to what you were talking about, taking responsibility for our own thoughts and our feelings.
Yeah.
And if you've been in personal growth for 5 minutes, you've probably heard somebody say that, right? No one can make you mad unless you let them make you mad, and
Give
so
them
on.
permission to make you mad. Yeah, all that.
Yes, all of this, right? However, this story keeps showing up and keeps showing up in our lives. And I think if we could really send home any message today with people, it would be that of you are responsible for your own thoughts and feelings. You are.
100%.
And it's just amazing how when we do choose to shift, so in that screenplay, we're turning the page, that everything around it changes.
Yeah.
I have a little story I'd love to share with you.
Oh, I'd love it.
Yesterday, so I'm in the process of buying a house, and I've been pretty grouchy about it, to be honest. No one needed to suck the joy out of it for me because I did it myself.
You got it. I got this. I could see.
And so yesterday I'm journaling, and I'm journaling about everything that's wrong with the house, right? The this, and I just don't even think it has good mojo, right?
Oh no.
It's like, well, luckily that's something that I can change as I flip my hair back, right?
I got this. I got me. I got my sage. It's all good.
We can go light that place up in the best way. And so as I'm journaling, I shifted my focus to everything's always working out for me, right? And shifted my focus to what I'm doing by buying this house is not, in fact, spending a pile of money. It is, in fact, planting seeds.
Yeah.
Right? So as building this house, I am planting seeds. I am creating more stability for myself, for my family, and so on. And just decided to shift my thoughts. And lo and behold, by the end of the day yesterday, everything was solved. All financing was through, all conditions were off, everything's good to go. The current owner even said, "Do you want me to leave early? I can leave early if you want." Right? And I truly believe that when we change the way we look at things,
it really does. It really does. Well, and we had after we came home from Banff, and we were meeting online, and the question that you posed to the group, because I recently moved as well, and I'd been looking for a home, and this home that I'm in right now I've only been here a few weeks, and we were meeting, and you said to the group, how are you not walking the walk of the work that we're doing here? And immediately I'd been looking at home for, I mean, not joking, like 3 years. Like I looked at probably 300 homes. Like I just kept looking and looking and looking. And that day I said, I'm not taking action. I'm just circling. And it was like, I need to move forward. And I realized in that moment, I was just afraid. It was just fear. I had found several homes that could probably work, but I just was scared to pull the trigger. And the next day I said to myself, I am going to love the home that I see today. And here I am. And then it was like, this was the home. And so when I walked in, I was like, I'm going to love this home. And then I ended up having two that I really loved. And we went back and forth. And then I landed on this one. And I'm absolutely so happy here. And it was that, like, I've been putting that off for so long. And it was that moment of like, okay, I need to walk the walk. If I'm going to coach others. And I mean, we've joked about this as coaches, like, I just coached this today. And here I am doing the thing, right? Because we're all in this mix together. We're all in this lovely pool together. So it's like figuring out, how do I get out of the pool to coach someone? I'm not going to be in the pool with them, and we're not going to drown together. I'm going to stand on the edge and throw a life raft and help them. But then sometimes I'm in my own pool. And as friends and as coaches, you and I can talk through things and stuff. But it's just really, I mean, having those tools it's just so amazing. And
Yes.
so I love it when we talk ourselves out. And that's basically, I mean, you prompted me, and then I talked myself out over the whole way, because it was kind of a drive to kind of look at the home. And so the whole way there, I was reviewing all the places I had lived. And I was like asking myself, okay, which ones did I love and which ones did I not love? And then I realized that the places that I loved had nothing to do with the place itself. It had to do with all the things that were happening in my life and the people that were there. The places I didn't like were were because of the struggles I was having. And then also the really fascinating part of it, though, was that financially in my life, it also lined up. The places I quote unquote loved, no matter what they were, I was also doing well financially. And the places I didn't like, and I was like about it all, I wasn't doing so well. Funny, because you're making, when you're in, you make the choices from wherever you're from, wherever you're,
Yes.
your brain doesn't know the difference between, if we talk about a lemon and we really describe a really sour lemon, you really think about eating that lemon, your mouth will water, because your body doesn't know. Your brain's like, oh, this is a sour lemon. Like, it doesn't know. Your brain's like, dang. And so we might as well, as much as possible, tell our brains, oh my goodness, can you believe this day? This is the best day ever. Because your whole body, I can feel my whole body go, okay.
Yes.
So it's like a brain doesn't know whether you just got $1 million or whether you're imagining getting $1 million. It does not know the difference. So we might as well manipulate ourselves as much as possible.
If we're going to manipulate ourselves to do it in a positive way. Absolutely.
I love it. With love.
Yes.
It's love, right?
Well, and that's just it. And knowing that we have the power to shift that, we have the power to look at things in a different way.
Yeah.
And, as you shared that question caused you to start asking yourself questions and to make decisions and to take action. I just want to remind all of our viewers and listeners that meaningful conversations are important. And to take the time to cultivate those meaningful conversations with other people, to ask questions, to be interested, and to remember that we don't always see the impact. So whoever you are watching and listening today, you don't see the impact you're having on someone else's life, but you are having an impact. And to know that you are important just exactly as you are, where you're at today. And as Carolyn was saying, it's a spiral. We come back and we revisit things and look at things again, but that you are always one level up on that spiral. You've learned something, you've moved forward.
And even if we bounce down the spiral for a second, sometimes something will trigger us and we'll be pulled back into an old pattern, and we can start to go, oh, I know this pattern, and we can kind of pull ourselves back out of it again, even if it feels safe and familiar, but we know it's unhealthy. And sometimes that can feel really wonky when you're in it and you want to stay there because that feels so familiar, but you also know, well, that's not who I am anymore, though. And you can kind of push yourself, and that anyone watching or listening to this, especially that's still watching and listening to this, obviously has found this for a reason and is obviously like perfect the way they are. And, it's just about what is the next beautiful thing that can unfold for you, like anyone that's in this world, for sure.
How about if we started our days like that? Like, what's the next beautiful thing that's going to unfold for me today?
I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's an amazing journal prompt every morning right there.
Yes, for sure. And take a second to really viscerally feel it. And that's what makes a good writer too, is being able to viscerally describe it. And what does it smell like? And who's with you? And what are you wearing? And like all these things that we want to do and be. What is it actually, what does it tangibly feel like when you're in that moment? And allow yourself to feel that. And your brain's going to be so grateful Like, yay,
Yes.
we can do this. We don't have to worry today. Yay, let's do that instead.
It's so true. And how quickly we can make those shifts.
It is
How
amazing.
quickly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have one more question for you. So it's hollywoodgatekeepers.com/action for what you have going on. There's probably a sign up pop up
Yeah,
there
there's always
for.
something there. Yeah, there's always something. Yeah.
I know you've got lots of really cool stuff because I've
Yeah.
been checking it out. So I encourage people to go there. My question for you was, do you have a favorite quote or affirmation that is like your go-to?
You're gonna love this. Okay, so this is Blue's Clues. I don't know if you've ever seen Blue's Clues, one of my favorite kids shows. And he says the very beginning of the song, he says, if you use your mind and take a step at a time, you can do anything that you want to do. It's like, if you
I
use your
love
mind,
it.
take a step at a time, you can do anything that you want to do. And I just love it so much. And that's the truth of it. Just take a,
Ah.
just be patient, use your mind, take a step at a time, and do anything you want to do. Blue's Clues.
Well, words I never thought I'd say is I'm going to go watch Blue's Clues. I'm, oh my gosh, that's great.
Yes.
And I think, for those of you watching, and probably even for those of you listening, was Carolyn's joy just contagious? Right? Like she was so tapped into the feeling of you can do anything that you want to do, right?
Yeah.
She was so tapped into that feeling that it just absolutely radiated from her. And there's no doubt in my mind why things are always working out for you, why you're living in the home that is perfect for you and doing a career that you love and helping so many people. You have such an amazing heart and beautiful just a knowing on how to help people to just really tap inside of themselves and reach their fullest potential. So thank you for being you. You're
And thank you for
amazing.
giving me even more tools and even more ways to do it in such a beautiful, so all-encompassing way. We had a very diverse group, and you just like the way you included everyone was so professional and loving and all the things. So kudos to you. That's not easy. And you did it as though it were simple. And it was
Oh,
impressive. Yeah.
thank you, Carolyn. Thank you. You're so kind. And thank you for being on the show today. Anyone who wants to reach out to Carolyn, I'll have all of her information in the show notes. Thank you for watching and listening. Carolyn, thank you for being here with us today.
Such a pleasure. You're the best.
Thank you.